Oh yeah, that's good. Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel, Season and Serve. My name is Melissa and today we are making a delicious cheddar and chive scone recipe. Now I've been working on this recipe for a few years now and I think I've achieved the best scone recipe. First of all, this recipe is amazing because they are savory scones, and honestly, give me a savory scone over a sweet scone any day. I do not like sweet scones. I really do prefer a nice savory, salty, cheesy scone like this one is. Besides the flavor, the texture of the scone is what really makes it special. I would say it is a perfect hybrid between a traditional scone, which is a little bit denser, and a biscuit, which is a little bit lighter. I would say they're hearty enough to still be classified as a scone, but they are light, kind of like a biscuit, and we achieve that through a nice layering process and lamination process when we make the dough. And don't be scared, lamination is super easy, and you are absolutely gonna love these scones. And if the scones weren't enough, I'm also gonna show you how to make homemade butter. And we're making the butter not only to go on the scones when they're done, but also we're gonna use the buttermilk that comes from the butter making process to make the actual scones. And of course, you don't have to go through the whole process of doing this if you don't want to. You can just buy buttermilk from the store or just substitute with 2% milk. So store-bought is fine, as Ina would say. So I have most of the ingredients laid out here besides the flour and the chives, which we're gonna go get from the garden together. And honestly, I'm just gonna say it is the perfect day to make this recipe. It is a nice spring day, but it's 13 degrees Celsius and raining. And honestly, on days like this, all I want to do is stay home and bake and cook. So this is like the best vibe for the day. I am so excited. So let's go get our chives from the garden and then we'll get on to making this delicious cheddar and chive scone recipe. Oh my God, these smell so good. It is the perfect time of year to make these scones. They even have the little flowers out already, which is so nice. We're gonna use these to decorate the scones at the end to make them look all pretty, but oh, I love chives so much. Oh, these smell so good right now, and that's honestly the best part of cooking seasonally and using what's in season. Everything just tastes so much better, so much more flavor, and it's also cheaper at the grocery store, which in this economy, we obviously want. Yeah, it's absolutely stunning. Like, oh, so good. But yeah, put that there for now, and we'll leave these off to the side. I don't really use the stems with the actual flowers on them because they are a little bit woodier and tougher. You can totally use them, you can totally eat them, but I like the more tender stems. But we're gonna use these little tops for decoration. But that's it for now for the scones. So let's get to making our butter so we can use some buttermilk in our recipe. Come on, Avalon, we're going over to our mixer here. Okay, so making butter is so easy. All you really need is whipping cream. And I'm using a local whipping cream today from Avalon Dairy, and they're just in Burnaby. They're like 10 minutes from our house, which is amazing. But I get all of my milk there, all of my cream there. It's so good and it's pretty cheap. It's not very expensive. And you know, you get it in these nice glass bottles and it's just, the aesthetics are also worth it. Besides the flavor, the aesthetics are like the best part of this. And all we have to do is pour the whipping cream into a stand mixer, and I fit it with a paddle attachment. We're just gonna give this a nice pour in, and you want the whipping cream to be at room temperature because it just makes the butter come together a little bit easier. We pour the whole bottle in. This is a liter of whipping cream. And then eventually, as it continues to mix, the butter will separate from the buttermilk and you'll have your own butter, which is amazing. So let's get going. Really important to start on low. Now we're going to turn it down slightly. and let it form into a ball. Now you can hear the buttermilk separating and sloshing around in the bowl. And then you want to probably turn it down at this point just so it doesn't splash everywhere. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? Oh. We've made it. You can see the buttermilk in the bottom and the butter there. So now we're gonna go rinse the butter and then we'll season it with some salt. All right, so this is our butter. Looking so good. You can see the buttermilk there. So I'm gonna pour the buttermilk off into a cup here. That's a lot of buttermilk. Oh, so good. And all we're left with inside is the butter. Now, we're gonna roll up our sleeves here. We're gonna take the butter off of the paddle, and then we're gonna take this and just form it into a ball. And I see there's some buttermilk there. I'm just gonna keep draining the buttermilk back into here, into a ball, and you can see the buttermilk just pour out of it. So we're gonna capture all that in the bowl so we don't waste anything. So in total, it takes about 15 minutes to make butter. I had the mixer going on the lowest speed for most of it until it formed into whipped cream. And then I took it to a medium setting. This smells so sweet. It smells like sweet butter. When people describe butter like that, it's because it's homemade and it's delicious. And then we're gonna rinse it under cold water. And we're gonna keep squeezing to get the extra buttermilk out. And there you have it, homemade butter. Isn't that amazing? Oh, stunning. So this is what butter from 1 liter of whipping cream looks like. It's 560 grams. Without the plate, it's probably 500 grams. So just over a pound of butter from a liter of whipping cream is a really good deal. And then we also have 2.5 cups of buttermilk. Isn't that amazing? So good. I love that so much. So we have that. And I want to show you how I add salt to my butter. But what I like to do is take some parchment paper. And then I'm going to put the butter onto 1/2 of it. Then I'm going to take the other half, fold it over, and kind of flatten it out. And honestly, I think making the butter is more labor intensive than making the scones. So once I've flattened it out pretty good, I'm going to sprinkle about 1/2 teaspoon of regular sea salt on there. And then I'm going to take it, fold it in half, and then fold this in half again to create a ball. And then we just keep repeating that same process of flattening and adding salt to your desired saltiness. Now at this point, we can taste it and see if it needs any more salt. Oh no. Ooh. It's so good. I'm just going to form this into a ball and I'll put it on this little plate here, and then we'll get to making our scones. This is only the butter part. This is the only extra part. So that was probably the more difficult part of making this recipe. The rest of it is so simple. So we're starting off the scone dough with 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Then I'm going to add a tablespoon of baking powder, a tablespoon of granulated white sugar, and we're going to add about 1/2 teaspoon of sea salt. Now we're going to give this a nice whisk, combine all those dry ingredients. That's really important to get a nice even rise out of your scones. And now we're going to do the most important part, which is cutting in the butter. So we're going to use a knife, and we only need 1/2 of this for 1/2 cup. And I'm going to cut this into thin slices, maybe like 1/2 centimeter, 3/4 centimeter thick. And then we're going to take each of these, pop them in individually. There we go. Now we have our big shards of butter in here. We're going to toss them in the flour to get them coated. And then we're going to pick up these shards really quickly between our fingers. And we're just going to press them out and flatten it. They're not tiny, they're actually quite big. These little shards of butter here. So I'm just going to do that for all of those. And this is what helps with the lamination, getting these flat shards of butter into your dough. Really important and a really easy technique. And it's so much easier than grating your butter or cutting it into little cubes. It's way easier to flatten out these big pieces than little tiny cubes of butter. And we're going to now add our cheddar cheese that we cubed up earlier. And we're going to toss that in the flour as well, get that all coated. And then we'll add in our chives that we cut up earlier. So those are all going to go in. And the smell that came out of that bowl just now, holy. And we'll put that aside. I'm going to wash my hands and we'll get the wet mixture prepared. All right, let's clear the decks here. Let's get all these bowls out of the way. We don't need the whisk anymore. So now for the wet mixture, we are going to add half a cup of buttermilk into a mixing cup. There are some extra little pieces of butter in there, but I am not too worried about that. I'm going to put this in the fridge. This will keep for about a week in the fridge, and you can make like pancakes with that. I feel like we're going to have pancakes tomorrow morning to use the buttermilk. It's also really good to marinate chicken in. It makes the chicken so tender and delicious. It is like the best thing ever. So lots of uses for buttermilk. But to the buttermilk, I'm going to add 2 eggs, and these eggs are at room temperature. And then we're going to mix that up, get that all combined. And you want to do this instead of having to mix the egg in the flour mixture. It's too much and you overwork your dough. So we're going to get this nice and mixed up in here. Wow. And at this stage, if you don't want to dirty your counters, you can unroll a little silicone mat on here, which makes cleanup a little bit easier. Sorry, butter, you're going to move over here for a sec. All right, so we have our wet mixture here and our dry mixture. We're going to add probably about 3/4 of this in at once. And then we're going to mix it with a fork. Mixed, but you're not going to like over mix it with a fork. You're just going to try and bring this together. It's going to look all scraggly at first in the beginning, which is what you want. And then I'm going to add the rest of this in. And get that all mixed in. So you see it's kind of like shaggy, almost fully incorporated. We don't want to fully incorporate it yet. So at this point, we're going to take it out of the bowl and we're going to dump it onto our little silicone baking mat here and then put all the floury bits on top. Now we're going to take this and just form it into a rough circle. I'm going to stick the cheese in there. The cheese is going to fall out. It's going to kind of go all over the place until it's a little bit mixed together. But you want to just basically, you're going to take the scone dough, and as you mix it, you fold it over itself. And that's creating layers of dough. Flatten it out, fold it over. And that's the way to mix it in to get all those nice little laminated layers. I don't really know if this is professional or not, this technique, but it seems to work and it tastes really good. So once it starts getting a little bit sticky and tacky and the dough is pretty much formed together, we're going to turn it into a nice ball, flatten it out a bit here. So we didn't have to be scared of that at all. That was like so easy and it's a great way to incorporate the dough with lots of layers. So now at this point, I'm just going to roll it out a little bit using a rolling pin just to get it even, but I want to keep it in a circular shape about 1 inch to maybe 1.5 inches thick, right, like kind of in between that. And then you can do that, you can roll it out, turn it, and then roll it out some more. I'm going to make these look like traditional scones, so in order to do that, what you would do is roll it out into a circle like I'm doing here, and then cut it into little triangle wedges. But if you don't want to do that, you want to make them look a little bit more like biscuity or a little bit more professional, you can just use a floured cookie cutter, a nice round one, and then just cut little scones out. I'll do that sometimes, especially for the holidays. If I want to serve them as like biscuits, as like a side. I serve these for Easter. This would also be bomb for Thanksgiving. These would be amazing if you cut them into like little circular rounds and then everyone can have their own biscuit. Ooh, people would love these. And I know people would love them because my family enjoyed these for Easter, which was lovely. And I'm definitely going to make these again in the fall. So yeah, they're delicious. Now we have our nice round of scones and We are going to put this onto a parchment-lined baking tray and put it in the freezer. And we're going to chill this for about half an hour. It's quite a long time, but in that time, the butter will refreeze inside the dough. And then when it hits the heat of the oven, the butter will expand and give it the nice flaky texture. I hate it when the parchment gets to this point. It just keeps rolling up on itself. And I also hate when the parchment isn't even. Why? So that's great. We're going to take this, slide it on, and then we're going to put this in the freezer for half an hour. That's going in the fridge, and I'll make some pancakes tomorrow, I think, with this. That'll be lovely. All right, it's been half an hour. It's freezing, the tray, but now we're ready to form these into scones. And before I cut them, I like to brush it with a little bit of whipping cream. I just had like about a teaspoon left over from the bottle. And my oven is preheated. I preheated the oven to 350. And then just for an extra bit of salty, savory flavor, I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of Maldon sea salt on top. And I just love these big flakes of salt. They are so good. And it adds just another like nice level of savoriness to this recipe. Now we'll cut them up, and I'm going to cut them into 8 pieces. So I'm going to divide it in half, and I'm going to cut it in half again, and I'm going to cut those halves in half. Math, you know? Only math I can do is like cooking math, the applied math. Tell me how to graph a parabola, whatever that is. I don't even remember. Obviously did not matter for my life. I'm always so impressed when I make my recipes and they come out good. Like, I know they're going to come out because I'm a recipe developer and it's what I do, but it's just always so nice to see it come out nice. Anyways, oh, I have to show you this. Oh my God, come here. Come. So sorry, I am trying to work a little quickly here, but look at that layering. That's what you get when you do those multiple folds. Oh, are you kidding me? Look at that. Oh my God, it's perfect. Okay, sorry. You got to work fast when you're doing this at this point. So I'm just going to space these out on the baking tray. I like to alternate so they fit really well, just like that. And now it's nice because you don't have to brush individual pieces of the scones. Makes it a little bit quicker. Now we're going to fire these in the oven, 350 for about 25 minutes. They'll be nice and golden brown, and to tell they're done, lift them up and they'll be nice and golden brown at the bottom. I'll of course show you, but these are going in. Ah, so excited.
Again since I moved in, so definitely not a draft of the house. And also the house doesn't have central AC, so it's
Purwee.
My mom happened to be by the front door, so she...
All right, so this is the moment we've been waiting for. These beautiful scones. How am I gonna do this? Hold on, let me switch hands. So, as I was saying, this is the moment we've been waiting for. These scones look and smell incredible. I am so happy. Every time I make them, they come out so beautifully. I'm just gonna stack them up here on a really nice platter. They're just stunning. I can't. Like, they're so beautiful. I love the cheese ruffle on the outside. And they smell oniony and cheesy and delicious. And it's just absolutely fabulous. Oh my gosh. So there you have my cheddar and chive scones. All we have to do is just open one of these up, put them with a little bit of our homemade butter. I put it in my little silver bowl because we're being fancy today. And I'm just gonna also garnish it with a couple of the chive flowers. You can kind of just break the flower apart and just kind of stick the beautiful flowers all over. They're stunning. Meghan Markle has inspired me to do flower sprinkles for everything. So we're just gonna do that for the rest of my life. Look at how beautiful. Oh My gosh. And you can actually eat these chive flowers too, which is really nice. Now I guarantee if you bring out these cheddar and chive scones at any sort of brunch or breakfast, or even if you cut them into like biscuit shapes and have them for dinner, people are going to lose their minds. These are so delicious, and I love that they're made with local and seasonal ingredients. It is just the best. So I think it's time to try these, and I'm just going to take this one off the top. I can't, and all those beautiful layers in there. Just gorgeous. Now we can pull it apart, kind of like a biscuit. Look at that. Oh, all those amazing flaky layers. The perfect scone. Homemade fresh butter. Put that on the scone. It's still nice and warm too, so it's like melting a little bit. Absolutely gorgeous. I love it. Let's give it a taste. They're so salty, so savory. I love the cheese, the onion, like from the chive. You can tell by my facial expression that these are really good scones. And I love that they're light. They're not heavy like a traditional scone. They're just perfect. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you make this recipe for my cheddar and chive scones. The full recipe is on my website, which I'll leave linked in the description box below. And if you want more amazing recipes, definitely consider getting my cookbook. So this is my cookbook, Season and Serve, a cookbook for all seasons. And this is my very first book that I've ever published. I did self-publishing and it was a journey. So I do have a whole series on YouTube here about my publishing journey to get this cookbook, and I can't believe I am holding it here in my hands and showing it to YouTube for the first time in this video. It's not even part of my cookbook series, but I'm just so excited I had to show it to you. There are so many amazing recipes. There are 72 in total, all inspired by the seasons, and there are some full color photos throughout the book. So it is absolutely stunning. There's only 250 available, so it's a very exclusive cookbook release. And once they're sold out, that's going to be it. So definitely get your hands on this cookbook. You are going to love all these amazing seasonal recipes in it. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to enjoy the best of the season every day. Now I'm going to eat this scone. I'm going to eat the scone and I'm going to take pictures. Perfect afternoon.